What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and in this video I got a board hunting skilled stretch, which is really good, but I'm also going to show you guys the original version that I came up with, because if you guys want to know, this build was actually or at least like the original prototype of this build was originally called a board hunting 0.4 because it was supposed to be a remake to my playmaking glass cleaner from 2K20. I wanted to go back to some of my older builds. I also revisited the two-way glue guy as well, if you guys want to see that one. But yeah, a lot of cool things with this, with, you know, going back to some of these older 2Ks and taking a look at those builds and seeing what you can create and come up with. It's pretty interesting. But this one right here is the playmaking glass cleaner, you know, from 2K20. Obviously revamped a lot, and it no longer is the board hunting 0.4 that it originally was when I first made the prototype. But when I revamped it, it became a board hunting skilled stretch, which I feel like is a little bit better. But anyway, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at this. I'll also show you guys, you know, all the stats that you would need for the like obviously there's this version, which is the skilled stretch. So I'm going to go ahead and actually go over to the previous version of the build, just so you guys can get a little bit of an idea on what the board hunting 0.4 looked like, because the board hunting 0.4 was absolutely amazing. So yeah, it was really good, but I feel like this is a little bit better. So I'm going to show you guys what those stats look like first, before we go anywhere, before we do anything. So originally the board hunting 0.4, the main things that it really had was, like, obviously, as you can see, it straight up had better defense pretty much all around. Then you also had not as high of ball handling, but you had, you know, your defense was pretty much set in motion there, set in stone. You're able to utilize more of your mid-range ability and like use cap breakers, but the only problem is you weren't able to really utilize too much when it comes to the cap breakers in the mid-range or even the three-point rating, because you would only need one cap breaker for set shot specialist, and that's all that you're able to get. So it's unfortunate, because then you're not also able to get a 70+ post control as well, so you cannot even get silver post fade phenom. You're not able to get post up poet or post fade post powerhouse. You're not able to get all that, and then you also do not get unpluckable off the rip as well, because you're able to get unpluckable off the rip on the new version that I made. And what's also really good about the new version is that you'll just be one cap breaker off of getting heals for days. The only thing that this does here for the pass accuracy is really give you break starter on gold, which is very good, but it's only really good if you are intentionally trying to just grab boards and throw it down the court, which you can still do that even with silver. So it's just one of those situations of, okay, why? What's the point? Whatever. So yeah, it's just a little bit of who cares? Just drop it down by 2 points and then you'll be fine, because you don't really need break starter on gold anyway. So it's just one of those things where I decided I can drop that, get a higher ball, or the original idea that I came up with after that, the next version, I dropped the pass accuracy, and then I dropped the mid-range just so I can get up to a 78 three-pointer, and then I was also able to get up to a 70 on post control with a 77 free throw, and that's what gave me originally the skilled stretch, the board hunting skilled stretch. And then I figured I can revamp this just a little bit more, so then I dropped the free throw a little bit, and then I said, okay, well, with the free throw down to a 70, because I'm not going to be driving too much, because I have really good ball handling and everything, and I figured, why not utilize, you know, cap breaker potential, because we're not going to be using cap breakers on our 3-point rating, because the only thing that we can get it up to is an 80. We can only get our 3-pointer up to an 80 on this build. So We're not going to really utilize too much of like, here, because we need 5 cap breakers in order to get physical finisher. And we would need 3 cap breakers total for float game. And that doesn't really matter too much, honestly. And then also, we're not going to be able to get layup mix master on silver. So me personally, I'm just fine with where it's at. And then the driving dunk being at 80 is fine. If I was able to, I'd try to get it a little bit higher. But an 80 is still perfectly fine for what it is, because you can still get some pretty good animation still. I feel like it's pretty solid, because you still get posterizer on bronze. As long as you get those lanes and those cuts, they're going to be pretty good. But for the most part, you're supposed to be like an ISO kind of player, like a skilled stretcher, supposed to be able to create your shots. And also like be a really, really good playmaker just in general, be able to pass the ball. But you can get those lanes pretty easily. And, if you can just dribble around the other 4s, then you'll be absolutely fine to just get around them, get the blow by, get some drives, and it's just going to be absolutely amazing. And then I figured, okay, what if I can get like a higher post control? Maybe just so I can get like post up poet on silver. So then I'm only able to bring it up by 2. So I'm like, okay, if I'm not going to be using cap breakers on, my shooting or my finishing, really, I got to use cap breakers somewhere. So then I figured I'm just going to drop my interior defense down by 2, just so I can utilize 2 cap breakers there, because I'm thinking more on the cap breaker end here, on like where I can utilize cap breakers. So I just dropped my interior defense down by 2, and I'm like, okay, how much does this give me? Okay, it only gives me a 76, so I can just utilize that and get, 1 cap breaker there and just use 2 cap breakers for interior defense. And then I figured, but I want ball handling as well, so what if I just do this and be like, okay, well, I'm just going to do that. Okay, that means 1, 2, 3, 4 cap breakers. I mean, I can just do that as well. Okay, well, that's 1 less cap breaker I need. So literally, that's just still 3 cap breakers instead of the 4, since I brought down my perimeter defense. And also, I was able to gain at least 1 point here for ball handling as well. So, okay, what if I drop it down again? And then I'm like, okay, well, what if I drop it down again? So this is practically like the end game, because I'm like, okay, well, I dropped it down by 3 points, and I now would have to use 5 cap breakers instead of the 4 originally, but I also was able to take away cap breakers, because then I could get ball handling to an 80, where I can also use 1 cap breaker to get handled for days as well. So it's just kind of one of those situations where we kept the perimeter defense up to 82 for challenger on silver, which is pretty good. Now all we would need to do is use 3 cap breakers, because then at an 83 we would get pick dodger on silver, 84 we would get immovable enforcer on gold, and then 85 would be able to get on ball menace. So you can use all 3 of those cap breakers there, and then using 2 cap breakers on our interior defense just to get our post lockdown back up to a silver. So that would be pretty good there. And then just in the meantime, I mean, we have an 85 pass accuracy, which is still really good. You can still use cap breakers on it to get that break starter if you really, really wanted to, and then be able to keep the same name. But then you also have the 80 ball handling, like I mentioned. It's pretty damn good. And then also, it's like we went with the 77 ball handle originally for a strong handle. But then now, we also have unblockable on silver, and we can get handles for days as well. So that's really, really good. We can get handles for days on silver upgraded. We got the unpluckable upgraded to silver. So that's just pretty good stuff there. And also, if we really, really wanted to, using cap breakers on strength to get to a 93 strength, you only need 2 cap breakers here. That 92 strength is going to be very, very nice, because you'll be able to get legend strong handle, because we have the 80 ball handling. You see where this goes. It's really, really nice to be able to have these cap breaker options, just in case, you want to go one direction with the build, and then, you can go that direction. Or if you are like playing the build a specific way, like, and before you use your cap breakers, and then you're like, okay, well, I thought I wouldn't need cap breakers on this, but I kind of do need it more on like vertical or whatever. say you just need the cap breakers somewhere else instead, and then you're like, okay, well, I kind of need the cap breakers over here instead, just to be more effective, then you can do that. And then just be like, oh, well, I also don't need legend strong handle because Hall of Fame works just as good, or gold, or whatever you have at the time. And you're like, okay, like if it works just as well here, like say you have it on gold, it's like, oh, it works just as well on gold. When I get to Hall of Fame, it's going to be even better, but I still don't believe I need to use or waste my cap breakers on strength unless I have the cap breakers left over. So literally, it's really, really good because you have the 92 rebound here, defense rebound. You have all the gold rebound badges. You have gold slippery off ball, so you should be pretty good. High flying denier. You have box out beats, brick wall, gold. You have a move one forcer on silver, post lock on bronze, physical finisher on bronze, post powerhouse on silver. But you have aerial wizard on gold, poster on bronze, pogo stick on gold. Like, you have some really, really good badges here. Paint patrollers on bronze as well. And you can also use cap breakers to be able to get high flying denier on silver if you wanted to use 4 cap breakers on that. You have a 60 steel, so it's not like you're going to be able to get too much here, but you get those lanes. The 82 perimeter defense here, obviously you can use the cap breakers to get a move one forcer on gold and get, you know, a silver pick dodger and on-ball menace. Then obviously getting the post lockdown on silver once you get the 2 cap breakers for interior defense. 1 cap breaker can be used on ball handling if you want, handles for days. 2 cap breakers for break starter, because you're really not going to get anything else besides versatile visionary on silver if you use 4 cap breakers, but I feel like that's a little too much. You can use, you know, cap breakers on mid-range if you so choose, or use 2 cap breakers on a 3-point rating just to get to an 80, get you a little bit of a boost on that shot percentage there. I mean, if you really, really wanted to, you can use cap breakers on post control. That is something that you can do. It's not like it's 100% necessary because you're not going to get really too much upgraded for it, but you can obviously utilize it as well. And the 80 driving dunk, you can use cap breakers on it. You can use cap breakers on the driving layup if you so choose. You can use 2 cap breakers on close shot if you really want hook specialist on silver and get that upgrade there. There's just like a lot of opportunity for cap breakers depending on how you like to play the game. So that's just the main reason why I really like this build in, you know, the way that this build came out. So it's like the 73 close shot is really good for paint prodigy. 75 driving layup is pretty solid. It's mediocre, but it's still pretty solid. The 80 driving dunk, also mediocre, but it's really, really good. 77 post control is very solid for a, you know, for a shorter build. 73 mid-range is a little low, but trust me, when you're making a build and you're just like kind of like upgrading it, what is the first thing you are upgrading on your build when it comes to shooting? It's typically not your mid-range. You're typically upgrading your 3-point shot, because even with like a low fucking mid-ranges, you're still able to hit. Obviously, it's going to be like a little bit more tricky to hit like fades and whatnot in the mid-range. But as long as you have like a really good jump shot that you are really good with, you're able to hit pretty much lights out, even with like a 58, 60 mid-range. So like, yeah, the fact that you don't really need a super high mid-range is the reason why we're going with the 3-pointer. And we have the mid-range high enough just so that we can get that post-fade phenom on silver, because you need a 71. But as you can see here, I have a 73. Sorry about that. I just woke up, so I'm still a little groggy. But yeah, so 85 pass actually really good. 80 ball handle, 75 speed with ball. It's really not going to give you much unless you really, as you can see, we can get the 80 speed with ball if you really want different dribble styles or like a better dribble style. Then you can obviously do that. But yeah, but the cap breakers that I are more likely to use out of the gate and then see what else is available after that is the perimeter defense, using 3 on perimeter defense, using 2 on interior defense. That's 5 in total. And it's like right now, I think I have 9 total cap breakers. So that means I would have 4 available. I can use 2 more on strength. I can use 1 on ball handle. And then I can also just use 1 wherever if I wanted to, or if I can just keep it as well and then be like planning out where I want the next cap breakers. So that's just something that I could easily do. I can even throw it on a 3-pointer if I really, really wanted to. But yeah, it's like the 1 on ball handling would be pretty good. The 2 on interior defense, that's really, really good. Then we have the 3 on perimeter defense, and then 2 on strength, because like I mentioned before, with the strong handle badge, I feel like that'd be really, really fun to have on legend, because then you're more than just a secondary ball handler. So it's really, really good. I like the ideas that, you know, the cap breakers on this have. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this build, man. We got Jeremy Sohan, we got Shawn Marion, and of course the small ball rebounder himself, Josh Hart. Respect for Josh Hart for just being a power forward. But yeah, the board hunting skilled stretch, as you can see my Chris Paul face creation as well. If you guys have not seen the Chris Paul build, go ahead, check it out. Check out my most recent build videos as well, where they've recently been talking about you know, Pro Toon builds, and we got more Pro Toon builds I will be making videos on here soon. But yeah, I definitely wanted to revisit some old builds and try to recreate them. So we got this build. We got the 2-way glue guy that I also revisited. That was pretty interesting. So I'll also show that video off as well and show you guys how that ended up doing. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this in the comment section below. Make sure to leave a like, comment your feedback, and that's going to be all for this one. I'll see you all in the next one. Later, everybody.